Hello, today we're going to be doing some unorthodox teams in Genshin Impact. Typically in this game, you'll run like a Nebulet team, a Vaporize team, Hyper Bloom, or a Quicken team. However, in this list, no character's best team is in here, except maybe Power Traveler because they're pretty bad. For the first team to showcase, we have Choran Overload, which isn't too bad. I guess unorthodox just means off meta, to be honest. My team consists of Choran, Mavrika, Chevruz, and Yamiko. This is a one Choran Eve rotation type of team, so it's best to have Fragment of Harmony Whimsy on her. And Mavrika should have the Cinder Cindy set on her. Ye can be replaced with Auroron or Official, and Mavrika with Toma and Xiangling. Also, when you're using her with Natlan characters, give Mavrika the Obsidian Codex. And the reason why this team isn't good is because Mavrika would probably do more damage when she's on field anyways. Second is Virgin Mavrika. Now there's a lot of ways to build this team since you just need Hydro, Dendro, and her. I personally use C6 Yalan, Nahida, Sidlali, and Mavrika, but not everyone has that, so I'll just give you some building tips. In order to never get the burning reaction, you either need 2 Hydros or a very fast Hydro applicator. If you're gonna run one very fast Hydro applicator like Xingqiu or Child, then your last teammate can be a Cryo, Geo, or Official. Having this last teammate be someone that can Night Soul Burst obviously helps Mavrika get her burst off, so the best option here is probably Sidlali or Shilonin. But you can also run Kachina or Auroron. If you're gonna use 2 Hydros, I wouldn't recommend Mulanni. I don't personally have her to know how this would work, but in my mind, it's probably really bad. And I just recommend that you don't get to burst with Mavrika sometimes. Anyways, this team isn't really that good because Mavrika can do good damage by herself, and you wouldn't want to build full EM for her for the biggest Burgeon damage. Next is another Burgeon team, and it's Burgeon Power Traveler. Now this team is definitely not as good as Burgeon Toma, mostly because Traveler's uptime is about 10 to 12 seconds with an 18 second cooldown, while Toma is a 15 or 18 second uptime with a 20 second cooldown. But the thing Power Traveler has above Toma are that they can have the Cinder City set and their tappy hits about once every second without having to do attack. Just a tip, don't ever use Holdy because that hits once every 3 seconds, which is horrible for a Burgeon trigger. This team does pretty good damage when it's dealing it, but since there's only about a 50% uptime, it's not really good. But you could give it a try if you want. I use Farina, Kokomi, Nahida, and Traveler. But if you're trying to make a 4-star only Burgeon team, then you should probably stop because your only options are Kole, Kirarar, Kave, and Yao Yao, and I'm pretty sure you would want 2 Dendros for teams without Nahida. Now for on-field Mavrika, we have Overvape. As a teammate, if you got unlucky on the banner and you only got Mavrika and you couldn't get Sidlali. My team is Mavrika, Shilonin, Farina, and Fischl. Some other options for this team are that you could replace Shilonin with Kazuha or something, but then you have to swap Fischl for Auroron for the Night Soul Burst. You could replace Farina with the many other Hydros in this game, but she's probably the best for both her automatic Hydro application and decent buffs. This team is probably going to be the best or second best team showcased on this list, because that's just how good Mavrika is on field. Another overvape team you could try is a Raiden Shogun comp with Raiden Shogun, Farina, Shilonin, and Mavrika. A very costly team with 4 or 5 stars, but it's usable. Everyone's going to be on their standard build except Raiden Shogun could have the Morishosei set if you're going to use Farina. But you can also replace Farina with any other Hydro. The problem is that Mavrika wants Night Soul Burst, so you can only replace Shilonin with Sidlali unless you want to consider an even worse Night Soul Burst option. Now, I want you to imagine a team with the best Pyro DPS of today, with the best Pyro DPS in history. And that's where you get the Mono Pyro team with Mavrika, Shilonin, Kazuha, and Xiangling. Or it could be an Overload team with Mavrika, Chevruz, Auroron, or Official, and Xiangling. You could add Farina for her to vape, or Bennett because he's broken. The possibilities are there, except you want to have a Night Soul Burst, so the actual possibilities are quite limited sadly. But in all, the team does pretty good damage, I'd say. Yet, for the people who only got just Sidlali, I might have some usable teams for you. The thing about Sidlali is that she only likes Pyro and Hydro teammates, so teams made with her can be quite restrictive. The first team is just a regular Hyper Bloom Freeze team. Preferably, your Hydro unit in this team does damage like Child, Xingqiu, or Yalan. It doesn't matter who's the one on field, it can be Nahida, or Hydro, or even Sidlali if you want. The team will do damage. It isn't the highest, but you will be protected by Sidlali's shield and Cookie's heal if you're using her. And the freeze will be good against mobile monsters like the Consecrated Beast. So it's a very safe build that can deal decent DPS as well as having good survivability. And going down the freeze route, you could try double Hydro Freeze. but there's pretty limited options when it comes to this one. Realistically, it's just Nivule and Farina, which isn't really unorthodox at all and it's actually quite meta. But theoretically, if you had like a C6 Shalon or a different character who has high investment or high constellations, you could use a team like this against stuff like the Rift Wolves. And personally, I wouldn't have to use someone like Ayaka whose burst can go wrong because of auto-targeting, enemies who are unable to freeze, or enemies that take knockback. And that's basically it for Silali, as well as the end of the video. Bye bye!